What is it? Well, SkyWay technology is basically a new transport system that's of the elevated variety. You can see a little picture of it there in the top right-hand corner. That is a unibus. The gentleman in the picture that you can see in front of you is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Anatoly Yunitsky. Now, he's received the Golden Chariot Award from the United Nations, which is for innovation in transport, and that is for the technology that we're about to talk about tonight. In 2001, he was awarded a $1 million grant from the UN to go out and basically prove his concept. And the proof of concept was incredibly successful, and here we are today. Now, Yunitsky's been working on this design for 40 years. He started working on this 1978 as a student, and obviously with great resolve, and he's got to a point where we're now at a place where it's commercialized or getting commercialized. So Ecotech Park, this is a place in Belarus. It's 36 hectares of land, as you can read up there. It was gifted to Anatoly Yunitsky and SkyWay Technologies by the Belarusian government. The reason it was gifted by the Belarusian government, ladies and gentlemen, is because they could see the profound impact that this transport was going to have. They could see that the outdated transport that we have, i.e. trams, trains, they needed to be replaced. We needed something better that was elevated so that we didn't have the, what's the best way to say it, the level crossing incidents, anything like that, okay? It's got a lower infrastructure. It's a lower cost infrastructure, rather. It's got a very low environmental impact. It's got a very low environmental footprint. And, you know, there's some real projects already happening with this. It's a low cost of construction compared with roads and rail, and we're going to go through that and have a look. It's incredibly efficient. You can read up on all this. You can read on all the technology and exactly how efficient it is. But just to give you an idea, the most efficient car on the road right now, ladies and gentlemen, is a Tesla. Okay? The Tesla, the battery-operated car. SkyWay is 17 times more efficient than a Tesla. So that'll give you a little bit of an understanding as to where we're at. Again, minimal footprint, and it's elevated. So we've got a few iterations of our technology. This one here is the high speed. Now, there is a high speed proposed between Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane in Australia and various other places around the world, and I'll talk to you about that. It's got a speed of up to 500 kilometers an hour, and it can travel or can move up to 500,000 passengers per day, which I think is pretty phenomenal. Now, some of the news that I've got about that is that Yunitsky was in Dubai in about April of 2017, so that's last year. And the sheiks there said, no, we're going to go, we want the Hyperloop, which, if you don't know, is Elon Musk's answer to the technology problem or the transport problem, the Hyperloop. And I'll get to that as well. Because it was 1,300 kilometers an hour. Yunitsky said, well, between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, I can tell you that SkyWay, the high speed that we've got, is actually faster. And they said, please explain this. So he sat down and he worked out the calculations, as engineers do, and he showed and proved that SkyWay was indeed 7 minutes faster between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. With that in mind, the sheiks went, okay, really great. Let's do some more talking. They did some more talking. Long story short, the test facility for the high speed is now likely going to be built in Dubai, between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Now, they'll initially build 16 kilometers so they can test that and certify it. Once that's got certification, I dare say they will extend it through to Dubai, so between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So that's likely to be the first place in the world to see that high speed, which is kind of exciting. Okay, so you've seen a picture of this on a previous page. This is the urban SkyWay, so it's the uni bus. It's designed for short distances. So if I was to put it into context here, it would be between... Okay, so if you're just joining us, if you could just mute yourself down, that'd be awesome. Okay, got you there. So if we could put this into context here, this would be suitable between the Gold Coast and Brisbane. And I say that context for me because I live on the Gold Coast. The speed's up to 150 kilometers an hour, and of course it can move 50,000 passengers per hour, which is amazing. Got to go to the next slide. So there we are. So the Unibike, this is designed anywhere from a single person right up to 5 seats, believe it or not. They've got business iterations. You can see it there. They've got a sport one, so you can do it for a little bit of fun and exercise. They've got a luxury one there. You can just sit back and lay down. Again, up to 150 kilometers an hour. Now, this one, you can actually pedal yourself, which is kind of exciting for all the fitness buffs out there or the people that want to go and cycle round but don't necessarily want to get into the elements. The next one that we've got here, we'll go back one. I missed one. No, it's got it there. It's been taken out. I think somebody's been playing with these slides. Okay, so anyway, we get into the competitor analysis here. We've got SkyWay up the top there, 500 kilometers an hour. The safety on that is incredibly high, very high, it says there. The cost per kilometer to build, $3 to $8 million. Now, if I could compare that to something that I know a little bit about, here on the Gold Coast, we've just put in light rail, $60 million a kilometre to put in that light rail. There's a massive difference there, ladies and gents. Okay, it's eco-friendly. It can be put in any terrain. It can be put in across sea. It can be put in up across mountains, through the jungle, through the desert, wherever you desire, realistically. Okay, the next one down, we've got the magnetic levitation train, or the maglev, up to 600 kilometres an hour. It's got a high safety record. Well, not record, but it's got a high safety feature. $106 million per kilometre to build. Now, that's pretty expensive. If you're a third or second world country, whatever, this is infrastructure that your government can't afford to put in. So they need to be looking to the cheaper alternatives, which is obviously SkyWay in this respect. Okay, it needs flat ground to be put in. So that means there's a lot of engineering work needs to happen for them to be able to put that in. So that's hence why the cost is so high. Then we look at the Hyperloop there, up to 1,300 kilometers an hour. Okay, it's got a moderate safety margin. And, if you want to get strapped into a tin can and fired at 1,300 kilometers an hour, then that's what you're going to be doing in the Hyperloop. Up to $100 million a kilometer to build. Again, must be built on flat ground. And of course, because it's a tube, a vacuum tube, the arc that they can turn isn't very sharp. So that means they're basically long, straight, and that's obviously going to run into other issues down the track. We've got the monorail in there simply for comparison purposes, up to 80 kilometers an hour. So it's not incredibly fast. It's got a high safety standard, apparently, and up to $36 million a kilometer to build. So you can see that SkyWay is like a tenth of that price. Again, it needs flat ground to build on. So that's our competitor analysis, guys. Now, if I want to come back to the Hyperloop just for a second, Anatoly Yanitsky did a lot of research in and around the Hyperloop. If you're not sure of what technology it's based on, think about the old post office buildings and things like that, and they had vacuum tubes everywhere to get the mail around the building. Well, that's exactly what the Hyperloop is based on. Yanitsky did research on this himself and abandoned the research because it wasn't a feasible concept for transport. So that tells you quite a bit. Yanitsky's been working on it for 40 years. Musk's only been working on it for about the last 3 or 4. So just think about that for a second. Sustainability there, we're looking at the car right in front, 1,250% of environmental pollution. Monorail up over 250%, close to 300. Railway just over 250. The maglev about the same, and of course SkyWay comes in well under 100, which is awesome for our environment, and we need to be thinking about that moving forward. Okay, so there's 15 stages of development with the technology. Okay, and if you're wondering what I'm getting at, I'm going to get to a point very, very soon. So the state of this technology, it started in 1978. As I said, Yanitsky started with the designs. The engineering started on Ecotech Park around 2014, 2015. Okay, they broke ground there. They built Ecotech Park. Building and construction started right through 2015, 2016. They reached demonstration and certification in September of last year. They got certification in November of last year. So we're now sitting at stage 10 of the 15 developmental stages. More than likely going to be moving to stage 11 very, very soon as well. So that's kind of interesting too. But what does all that mean for you? Well, by the time we get to stage 15, you can see there around 2018, that's what they're saying, according to the business plan, we're going to go to what they call IPO, right? The initial public offering. I spoke about it a little bit earlier. Is it likely to be 2018? I don't know. How long's a piece of string? It may be 2019. It may be 2020. But the company is planning to go public. So that's good for us. Now, in around 2015, they had a valuation done. The IP rights and the patents is a value of over $400 billion. I'm going to try and remember exactly what it is because I did post this figure in our group today. It's $400,867,432,000 pre-IPO private equity shares. Okay, that's how many shares there are. They have a par value for $1, so they're literally worth $1 right now, according to the valuation. There's more than 300 MOUs, which is a memorandum of understanding, signed with more than 12 countries worldwide. We'll go into that in a second. With more than $60 million raised so far for a fully transferable technology. Now, I know that it's actually more than 60 million because we're getting close to the end of our funding for Ecotech Park, if you like, which is exactly what we're doing right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are crowdfunding for Ecotech Park. Okay, so the countries that we're in, I just released a little bit of news yesterday. There was a press release brought out. I shared it. Many of our leaders did, about Indonesia. Many exciting things happening in Indonesia right now. India, projects set to break ground in April of this year. Politics may play a role in that, but they're scheduled to break ground in April. Belarus, definitely things going on there. As I mentioned earlier, the Belarusian government gave 36 hectares of land to Unitsky for the development of this transport because they could see what was going to happen. Obviously, we've got Australia up in there. Rod Hook, he's the ex-transport minister for South Australia. He knows a thing or two about transport. He put the trams in Adelaide. He's travelled to Belarus now 4 times to make sure that he's on top of what's going on there. Obviously, we've got Russia there as well, the Ukraine. There's Kazakhstan. There's Tanzania. Ireland are down the bottom there. There's multiple countries now that are involved with this, that are going to implement this as a technology, as a transport technology. If you're on here and you've got to post this, your post should be getting a little bit quicker because it's kind of exciting. Okay, certificates obtained for the urban skyway. What does that mean? We're certified green. That's essentially what that is right there. You can see it if you read the bottom. Each certificate confirms compliance with the normative requirements for the complete sets of rolling stock equipped, including traction drive, control systems, energy storage unit, microclimate system, fire extinguisher. So basically, we're safe for passengers to go on, and we're also safe for the environment. That's exactly what that is saying. And that's exciting. Okay, so now who are we? You've heard me talk about the technology. You've heard me talk about Dr. Anatoly Yanitsky, but right at the start, I said, welcome to the SkyWay Invest Group opportunity presentation. Well, this gentleman in front of us, Andre Harato, he is our CEO. Now, SkyWay Invest Group, ladies and gentlemen, is a registered trademark of RSW, Rail Skyway Systems, which comes under the GTI umbrella, which is Global Transport Incorporated. Now, don't get too hung up on that. Somebody can explain that in deeper detail to you if you want to find out that stuff. Obviously, for some people, it's very, very important to know. So that information is freely available. The company is incredibly transparent. So how do we fit together? Well, it's an educational investment portal. And as I said, it's the trademark there of Rail Skyway Systems. Our mission is to educate people about the importance of financial investment education. Now, I can't speak highly enough of this because if I'd have had this education 10 years ago, I might have saved myself the loss of over $1 million. That hit pretty hard. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very adamant that this training can help you avoid that same pitfall. So Andre Harato there, he created the Academy of the Private Investor. It's 12 modules of learning, and he's made it available to all the people that want to be participants or co-owners in the SkyWay technology. So when you get your financial education pack with SkyWay Invest Group, it comes with a gift of pre-IPO equity that we mentioned at the start in the disclaimer. Very, very cool. So why crowdfunding? Why are we going down this road? Okay, the technology is amazing. There's heaps of countries that want to implement it. Why are we crowdfunding instead of just going to a big investor? That's a fair question. Let me answer it like this. Anatoly Yanitsky has a very, very big project in mind, and it's not Skyway Transport. Okay, it is a hyperwheel which takes all harmful industry to outer space. I know it's a pretty ambitious task. He needs a lot of money to be able to fund that. So enter SkyWay. He's like, well, if I can do it in a step, I'll do SkyWay first, and then that will give me the money I need to make my hyperwheel. Awesome. Okay, so he started going to VCs, venture capitalists, for those who don't know what that is, angel investors, and he said, okay, this is what I've got. They've said, we love the concept. It's going to make a shit ton of money, but we want 50-odd% of the company, 55% of the company. And these are arbitrary figures, okay? I don't know exactly the conversation that went on, but you'll get the idea. Yanitsky didn't want to give up control of his company. He didn't want to be Steve Jobs. If you know the Apple story, you know what I'm talking about there. Steve Jobs got ousted from his own company that he created. Yanitsky didn't want that with his technology. And the VCs, they all wanted far too much money. So enter crowdfunding. By giving the people that are going to use the transport a chance to own the transport, he was able to keep his shareholding much, much higher. And of course, all us happy mum, dad investors, or participants, if you like, we're there and we get the bonus from that. We actually get to enjoy the fruits of that. So I, for one, I'm certainly not complaining about it, but that's why crowdfunding, because the investors, the angel investors, they wanted too much equity. Okay, so wealth creation education, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, right? If you know Robert Kiyosaki there, you can see ESBI, which obviously stands for employee, sole trader, a business owner, and an investor. We want to move into the I quadrant of that, or the I segment of that quadrant, because that's where true freedom lies. I was going to say true wealth, and yes, true wealth as well, because it means you've got passive income coming in before you even need to get out of bed. You don't have to worry about running your business. You don't have to worry about going and trading your time for money. You don't have to worry about answering to a boss. You can do what you like when you like. Okay, so we plant the seeds now that will pay us in the future. Perfect. So what's in it for you guys? Well, let's have a look. First off, there's the educational investment packages. Remember, I said they could be called something a little bit different, the EIPs. This is going to give you the information you need to make sound financial decisions. Now, everybody's financial risk profile rather, is different. Mine's different to what yours might be, for example. I might be willing to go out on a limb a little bit further than you are. And that's why I would never give you personalized advice, because that's not where I work in. I work in giving education for people to go out and do their own research, because I believe that people should be responsible for their own actions. Okay? We shouldn't be blaming other people for things that happen in our life because, hey, we made the decision to do it. No one put a gun to our head. So here we are, an educational investment pack will help you make better decisions with what you want to do and how you want to raise your money. Okay, so with our EIPs, you can buy them one-off, or you can buy them in installments. And sometimes, every now and then, every season generally, there's a promotional one come up. So at stage 10, our discounts range from 75, 1 to 75 to 1 to 160. It's actually slightly higher than that, but that's okay. 1 to 175 to 1 to 160. So what does that mean? It means for every $1, you will get in the lower packages up to 75 pre-IPO private equity shares. In the higher range, for $1, you get up to 160 pre-IPO private equity shares. Big difference there. But of course, if we're playing at the small end or at the large end, there's a bit of a difference there. Now, some of the things that people say to me, they go, oh, yeah, but, it's so expensive to get in. Well, no, it's not. What we're looking at right here on the screen in front of us is our standard EIPs. 10 units is $10 US. So for as little as $10 US, you can secure yourself 80 pre-IPO private equity shares. Now, according to that valuation that we saw before, they could be worth as much as $80 at the float, right? For $35, you can get 420, which is a discount of 12, and so on and so forth. You can see that all the way down there. Obviously, you can put in $100,000 if you want. In fact, you can even put in more than that if you choose. Hey, Henny, how you doing? I'm just muting you, mate. So the thing to remember is that the more you put in, the better discount you get. But don't let it deter you. You can get started for as little as $10. I bought my boys a $25 a month pack, and they got around 20,000 pre-IPO equity shares. By the time they're 18 years of age, they'll have close to $100,000 in the bank and be earning 30 to 40 grand a year, potentially. Nothing's guaranteed, of course, ladies and gents. Okay, so this is the standard EIPs. This is the one-off payment. Bang, you're in, you're done. And there's a lot of people on this call that have done that. Oh, I've done it again because I muted you, Henna. I needed to move the slides. So here we see here is examples of installments. Now, they are at the higher end of the installments. Installments start from as little as $10 US a month. Okay, and that gets you, I think, about 1,000 pre-IPO private equity shares for about $100, something like that. You can confirm that with whoever invited you here tonight. But you can see here in front of you the EIP important, which is obviously the one that's right out in front. $2,500 a month. That's $25,000 in total. Gets you 3.5 million pre-IPO private equity shares. That's pretty exciting. Okay, maybe you don't have $2,500 a month. That's fine. There's going to be a package here that suits you. I can almost guarantee it. So we carry on. What are the business opportunities? Well, let's have a look. Obviously, there's a way somebody invited you here tonight. You didn't just come off your own volition. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was somebody else that's on the call. Great. You're here because you're interested in finding out maybe there is a business opportunity for me in this. Okay, so with this, there is 6 income streams. The first one we're talking about today, as in you could go out and earn it tonight, and I do mean that literally, is a network. So how this differs to any other network marketing company is simply this. If you make a sale today, you will get paid today. You can withdraw that money into an account, withdraw that today, and you can literally be spending it within 24 hours. I'm testament to that. I've done it. Okay, tomorrow. So what are we talking about tomorrow? We're talking about future planning. Okay, you can become a company rep. I'm now considered a company rep. Okay, who's just coming there? Just going to mute you guys down. If as you join, guys, if you could just mute yourselves, that'd be awesome. Yep. So back into here, clicking on that. Oh, so you can become a company rep. I'm considered now a company rep because I'm a certified master profit coach. That means the company will fly me around to carry out the training, and they'll pay me to do that. Not a huge amount, but they will pay, which is great. You can get a percentage from big contracts. So if you're involved with the implementation of projects and things, you can get a percentage from that. You can also, with the company rep, you can also become a country rep, which is basically the top tier of your country. You get a percentage of the whole structure for that country. Any revenue the country turns over, you get a percentage of it, which is very cool. We go one more. What's happening here? Okay, so project initiation. Now, as a manager and beyond, and I'll explain those in a minute, as a manager and beyond, you can initiate projects. Maybe you know someone in government. Maybe you know someone who has a lot of money, who's a big developer, who wants to put in this technology around their complex. Perfect. You can implement or initiate that project, and you'll get paid a percentage of it. I believe it's anywhere between 4 and 6%. Don't quote me on that figure. But imagine if it was 4% and it's a $100 million contract, and that's about $4 million. That might take you 2 years to put together, but it's still not a bad payday, is it? Okay, so we're going to the next one there, into the future. Something's happening with my computer here for some reason. Okay, we've got IPO. We have spoken about the IPO before. As I have said, the business plan calls for that to happen this year. Will it happen this year? We don't know. That will be seen to materialize. I guess if we get these projects implemented this year and they're a commercial success, well, not even a commercial success, they're working, they're operating, they're carrying passengers, then there's potential for us to go to IPO. So that's pretty exciting. Obviously, dividends. Now, once there's 200,000 kilometers of track laid, now I'll quantify this for you. The company intends to lay 50 million kilometers of track over the next 20 to 30 years. So once there's 200,000 kilometers of track laid, they will start paying dividends to the people who are part owners in that company. Remember, you're being given pre-IPO equity or getting a bonus of pre-IPO equity in this company, so you'll be entitled to those dividends too.